Hey everybody, this is Randy Santel, Atlas, and it is Tuesday, October 19th. That means the end of week 10 of my 15-week Sexification 2021. We are 2/3 through, just 5 weeks to go. This is going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm actually going to discuss week 10 first, and then talk about the lessons, which will be all about the utmost importance of consistency and the power of momentum. I've been using both of those two things for years now. Just for example, we post at least 2 or 3 videos a week, every week, all 52 weeks a year. Even though I haven't even done a challenge in the last 10 weeks, we still have content, 2 or 3 videos a week for the purpose of consistency. So we always have stuff for you guys to watch. But just first things first, with week 10, I know I've talked in the past few videos actually, on this past Saturday, my buddy Robert and I were going to do a 85-mile ride up in Wausau, Wisconsin, as part of an event put on by Iron Bull. And let's just say we had high expectations, but we did not win before we begun. Neither Robert nor I really knew too much about bikes. I have a gravel bike. He did not have a gravel bike, so we thought that he'd be okay to ride a mountain bike for the 85 miles. And let's just say the bike did not fare well. We did 5 hours 2 Saturdays ago and did 81 miles. We didn't even get to 40 miles this past Saturday. We were so far behind that we ended up getting lost, and we just decided to go on home because we knew that we wouldn't get done before dark. So we had an epic fail, but looking back, it was a very fun experience. Great scenery, loved it all around the Wausau area. Hoping to go back next year and get a dominate. We'll be ready for that one. But let's just go through the week. As you can see, I did wake up this morning and I weighed in 317 pounds. And I didn't weigh in yesterday because my beautiful girlfriend, Katina, she was actually a winner this weekend and didn't fail. She finished her first marathon in Northern Illinois, a little bit north of Chicago, which was on Sunday. I stayed with her. I was there at the finish line, very proud of her, but we just stayed in a hotel that night, wasn't able to weigh in on Monday. So weighed in this morning, 317 pounds. That was actually a surprise. I didn't think, based on my previous week, that I was gonna lose that much, but I did lose 4.6 pounds, which brought me up to 76.6 pounds for the first 10 weeks of Sexification. Very happy with that, but just as you can see, strike, 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 and then I was trying to make sure that I was gonna be ready for the Saturday ride, and I had 2 open frames on Thursday and Friday, just making sure that I did take those days off from riding. I had higher calories just to make sure my glycogen was all up and that I would be well rested, ready for the ride. Obviously that didn't pan out, so I did start out with a lot of food on Saturday, but then once I knew we weren't gonna finish, I did take all that down. So I did finish with a spare that day. So, and then a spare on Sunday. We went out after her race and celebrated with some delicious food and drinks, but still ended with a spare. So only got to 3 strikes for week 10, and then 2 open frames and spares. I did okay with my sleep. I was an idiot, and I'll talk about this. I know just actually in the last video, or the 2 videos ago about my exercise, I said I needed to stop doing rides on Tuesday after my night class. I got out a little bit early, so I did 3 hours, got to bed really late, and that is why I only got 4.5 hours of sleep on Wednesday. So I think that was the only other night, other than we had to wake up early for the ride. It started at 7. So I only got 5 hours, 54 minutes of pretty good sleep up in Wausau, and then did hit my 6-hour goal on Sunday. So yeah, sleep wasn't too bad. I did hit my steps every day of the week. I hit over 10,000, so was happy with that. And I will talk about this too, but I did not hit my 10 hours of riding for the week. I only hit, I think, 8. And the funny thing with that is I only hit under 100 miles of riding with all that. So yeah, that is all for week number 10, but now let's talk about the lessons, with number 1 being that there is pretty much no day of the week that is more important than all the rest. Just similarly saying the same thing, there's also no days of the week that are less important than the rest. So let's look at my calendar and judge from my consistency. Just right here, as you can see from the sleep, I prioritized last Tuesday and I rode 3 hours to get some exercise. Well, that kind of cut off all of my sleep, and the sleep that I did get wasn't very good because I had just finished my ride before going to bed. And because of that, I only got 4.5 hours of not so good sleep, so I didn't have a great productive Wednesday. If I had focused more on the week as a whole in consistency, I would have been smarter if I had just rode less, slept better, and then just did another ride on Wednesday. So that probably, not really probably, that would have been more efficient in helping me have a better week. Also, let's just take all my riding, for example. I got the 3 hours of riding in on Tuesday. I was off Monday, off Wednesday, off Thursday, off Friday, prioritizing having my body rested and ready for this big ride on Saturday, which didn't pan out. And even if we did successfully complete the 85-mile ride that we set out to do, it still would have been more effective for the week as a whole to not sink all of my eggs into the 2 baskets, 3 hours on Tuesday, 5 hours on Saturday, or whatever it would have been to finish the 85 miles. In all these past weeks, I rode on like at least 4 days of the week, and I rode more miles as a whole than I did during week 10. So in the upcoming 5 weeks, or not really in week 11, I'll talk about that next week, I'm going to Portland for a few days to see some of my friends. But especially in the last 4 weeks, I will be riding more days, just a little bit at a time. Start off point number 2, I do want to talk about, a lot of people have been asking questions about my scoring system. So let's just start out, and what I'm doing for this weight loss period, the strikes, spares, open frames, and gutter balls, those are just bowling references, of course, and I talked about them during one of the videos in 2020, but this can be applied to any form of goal achievement. Even if you want to be better at your job, you can still use this scoring system. A strike, let's just say, is 2 steps forward, because in bowling, if you get a strike, you get to count the points of your next 2 throws. So let's just call a strike is pretty much doing your best. So whenever I do my best, just like I did on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I score myself a strike. I took 2 steps forward. When I did pretty well, or let's just say because I'm trying to lose weight, I've got to be at a deficit calorie-wise. When I do great, but I know I could have done better, I give myself a spare, which is pretty much 1 step forward. These 2 right here are open frames. In bowling, an open frame is when you don't mark, when you don't get a strike or a spare, you leave some of the pins up. When I finish at the end of the day, where I've ate and drank more calories than my body burned off through exercise and all the other processes, I give myself a open frame. Now, I haven't had any this whole sexification yet, but a gutter ball day is 2 steps back. It's just pretty much going off the rails, just with the goal of weight loss. A gutter ball day is just eating and drinking like an idiot, eating a lot more calories than your body burns off. So I know one thing that I hear from a lot of people, and I used to do this too, so many people work really hard on their weight loss goals, physique goals, whatever their goals are during the week, and then they take the weekends off. So let's just kind of look at that here. Let's say the strikes are 2 steps forward, spares are 1 step, and then open frames are 1 step back, and then just keep in mind that gutter ball days are 2 steps back. So I did great on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, took 2 steps forward, 2 more, we're at 6. I got an open frame on Thursday because I ate a lot more than I probably should have, especially without completing Saturday's ride, but that's a step back. We're back to 5. And then on Friday, we took another step back. We're back to 4. On Saturday, we did a spare, so we moved up. We're back at 5. And then on Sunday, we got a spare, moved 1 step forward. We are back at 6. So pretty much these guys all negated each other. Yes, I had fun and it was a great week, but I could have achieved a lot more. Where I'm going with this for point number 2 is going back to people working hard during the week and taking off on the weekends. That's not an effective way to achieve your goals, as you just saw from me. you are doing great. Let's even just say you had 5 strikes. You are taking steps back if you take the weekends off. So, and let's go right into point number 3, and that is the fact that if you want to achieve goals faster, it's not about working harder, it's about being consistent. Because as we talked about in the first one strike isn't gonna make your week, just like one gutter ball isn't going to sink your whole week. You've got to be consistent with your scoring, keep all 7 frames in mind, and through consistency, you'll be able to achieve and move towards your goals faster. Let's take 3 examples of bowlers. Let's just say there is a professional who scores 300 every game for a perfect game, and then there is a very good amateur that averages 200 points per game, and then there's a beginner averaging 100 points per game. In one game for that professional, he or she bowls 300 points. Now, if you are the beginner throwing 100 points per game, it takes you 3 games to score the 300 points. Or just for math purposes, let's say the professional bowls 2 games, gets 600 points. For that amateur, it takes 3 games bowling 200 points at a time to get up to that 600. So if you're wanting to achieve your goals faster, it's all about being consistent and not taking any days off of just being unfocused. You can still have your cheat meals, even a cheat day every now and then if you want. Just like I said earlier, those cheat meals, whatever happens, they're not going to derail you unless you allow them to. So just keep on focusing on improving. If you mess up on one day, just learn from it, move on to the next, and just focus on getting a strike. I know in football, we always learned, and every other sport learns this too, is what's the most important play? The next play. So I try to think about that, and I know just using what I talked about in this video has allowed me to lose the 76.6 pounds in just 10 weeks, and we still have 5 weeks to go to make some progress. So I do truly hope that some of you found this video helpful, hopefully all of you. If it did, please let me know down in the comments, and if there's anything you'd like me to discuss in an upcoming video, I will be happy to do that. We still have a few videos to go, but thank you guys all for your continued positive encouragement and support, even the constructive criticism. Until my next video about week 11 next Friday, this is Randy Santel, Atlas, hoping you guys always, always, always win before you begin. Thanks for watching.